The Icons of Real Estate podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Wow, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Cari Briner, a powerhouse in personal and professional transformation. With a stellar reputation as a leadership coach, speaker, and business strategist, Cari has made a mark by guiding entrepreneurs, real estate professionals, and leaders towards achieving and reaching their highest potential. Now, she's the founder of Level Up with Carrie. She empowers individuals to achieve lasting change through tailored coaching, dynamic strategies, and the focus on growth and balance. Across her social media platforms, Carrie inspires thousands, sharing tools, tips, and real-life experiences that resonated deeply. Now, guys, I am excited to explore her journey, her insights on leadership, and how she helps others step into their greatest selves. Now, help me welcome Carrie. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you for the great introduction. I appreciate that.
No worries at all. It's an honor to have you on board. We'll dive straight in and just in regards to your journey and in real estate as well, and spare us no details. But yeah, just going back to the beginning, can you share what led you initially into real estate and then maybe to become a leadership coach, or which round was it?
Sure, absolutely. So I got my real estate license when I was 23 years old. A lot of people find that to be an interesting fact because not many people don't get into real estate as their first career. And it actually was pretty much my first career. I had a very short stint in corporate America after I graduated from college, but I just really had something inside of me that was very clear that I was not going to be able to work for somebody else and that I needed to be an entrepreneur. So people ask me why real estate. I actually have no idea. I really had no reason to think I could be a real estate agent. I hadn't even bought a house yet. So I was searching online for entrepreneurship opportunities, and real estate was just something that happened to be kind of interesting to me. And I thought it would be something I could do. And quite frankly, I could get in quickly and probably make some good money and not have to spend a lot of money. And that was really the impetus for me starting, which for a lot of people, they think, well, that is not a really good plan. I had $30,000 of student loan debt. I was not working a full-time job. I realized really quickly I just needed to get out there and work on my own. And so my drive was really, I needed to make money. I needed to replace what would be a normal income. I needed to start paying off my loans, and I just needed to figure this out. And so I think that the biggest benefit to me, honestly, was that I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't have a lot of limiting beliefs. I didn't have those things yet because I didn't have a lot of professional experience telling me that I couldn't do it. And so I just thought I could. And that kind of being a little bit naive, I think, was a very big benefit to me. And the second thing is that I'm pretty relentless. And when I get my mind around something, I just tend to do it. And I built my entire real estate business on doing open houses for other people because I didn't have any listings. I was far too young to have any sphere. I also was living in a metropolitan area that I didn't grow up in. So I didn't have any sphere of influence. I didn't have any friends or family there. And I had friends, but they were all $30,000 in student debt working their first job. So they weren't buying homes yet. So I needed to figure out a way to meet new people and to build my database and do it as inexpensively as possible because I also didn't have any money. And so I bought some real estate open house signs and business cards. And that was pretty much what I went off of for my first year of real estate. I did at least 2, if not 4 open houses every single weekend. I worked every Saturday and Sunday, with the exception of about one weekend in the first couple of years. And that really built my entire business. After the first year, I ended up listing 12 homes, working with many other buyers. And I became a top producing real estate agent in that part of the Minneapolis market within the first 2 years of real estate, being 25, 26 years old at that time, and really not having a sphere of influence. And so what I tell people is, it's really just the consistency. You have to pick something and you have to do it over and over again. I did not get a sale for 6 months. But I knew I was building my pipeline. I knew I was meeting people. And I just knew that if I did it long enough, that pipeline would start to really flow. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that for a lot of people, they get distracted with too many things and they do too many different things. So they don't stay consistent on one thing that they can get really good at. And I also think that they stop far too soon because they get impatient. And those are the two tips I always give agents is if you just pick something and get really good at it and do it a lot, you will get some success. And so, that was about 12 years of my real estate career. I was a top producing real estate agent while I raised two boys. And then I had an opportunity to grow a real estate brokerage. And when I had that chance, that was really when I had an opportunity to start to grow my leadership skills. I was also going through a personal transformation at that time. I was going through a divorce. I was going through a lot of personal reflection of what I wanted to be in my life and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to change, because I became an entrepreneur, a wife, and a mom very young, all pretty much at the same time with not very much life experience. And so fast forward 15 years later, there was just a lot of things that I knew I didn't do right. I didn't know what I didn't know. And now was a chance for me to decide what I needed to learn and how I personally needed to change. So I went through a very big personal transformation, spiritually, physically, mentally, and also in leadership. And so when I grew myself, I realized my business would grow. When I grew myself, I realized I could help other people grow themselves and their business would grow. And that really became, I think, the thing that helped me to be super successful in leadership. So I did that for the next 12 years. I grew a coaching company after that. And then I joined eXp Realty, where I grow my organization here.
Wow. Tremendous and valuable tips already. Just starting off how going away from the traditional 9 to 5 and having the tenacity to actually step out and think, no, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to go out into the world, even though I may not have the facilities to buy my first house, but I know what I want and how I'm going to get it. And there's a lot of people that are stuck, and really, like you said, you didn't suffer from that naive. You used it as a superpower initially to not stop yourself from, to stop them limiting beliefs, which a lot of people are actually going through. I was talking to a person the other day, just in regards to when you feel scared to jump, that's exactly when you should jump, or you'll live the rest of your life staying in the same position as you were. But just in regards to someone wanting to jump and take the route to get to be their own boss and take their life into their own hands, what are some advice and tips you would give someone just off the bat?
Yeah, I think the number one thing you said is don't try to research it too much. Don't try to fill your mind with reasons you can't, because your mind is going to focus on what you put in it. So for me, it's more about focusing on what I can do, focusing on, what strengths do I have? What opportunity do I have? I mean, we all have time. And if we work really hard and we remain consistent and we do activities, there's going to be some sort of result that come from that. And you can't, if you start finding reasons that it's not going to be successful, other people haven't been able to do it, why can I? Then that's going to be your story, because that's what you're telling yourself. So I didn't know that I was doing that, but I would say that was probably the biggest thing, is that I just didn't fill my mind with that stuff. I just thought I can do this. And so if you believe you can and you focus on what you can do, then that's going to bring you results versus getting stuck in your head of why you can't do it. I have another example of that. When I actually moved into the leadership role of the brokerage in Minneapolis, I had no leadership skills. I had only been selling real estate as a solopreneur by myself. I was a very good agent, but I had not led any other human being other than obviously just parenting my kids. So I came into this role completely naive again. I had no idea. I had never recruited anyone. I'd never grown a brokerage. I had not led anybody else. And yet the people at that brokerage really felt like I had the skills that, could be successful, and they could teach me some of those other things. And so when I accepted that position, they shared that with me. You have the personality, you have the skills to do this. And the owner of that brokerage actually told me that I was going to recruit 100 people that year. And he said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring in 100 new agents. You're going to totally be able to do it. And you just need to break down your goals and let's achieve this goal together. And the really interesting thing is that I didn't ask any questions. I just said, okay, if that's what our goal is, you hired me. I want to do this and be successful. If that means I'm successful, then this is what we're going to do. And I started to break down my goals. How many people per month? Who do I have to talk to? How am I going to get there? Focusing on what can I do? What skills can I use? And how can I do these activities consistently? The really interesting thing is we ended up recruiting 101 people that first year.
Wow.
And I did not set up a CRM. I did not do so many different things. And people were like, why didn't you do those things? Because those things would have distracted me. I needed to figure out how I was going to bring 100 people in. And it took a full-time effort for me. My focus needed to be there. And so it was really interesting because a lot of people will get stuck in, well, I need a CRM. I need to start this technology. I need to do this. It's all these shiny objects. At the end of the day, you just need to go do the activities, appointments. I needed to build relationships with other realtors, go on appointments and figure out how they would join our brokerage. That was the only focus I had because I had one focus and one goal. And later on, after we were in the crunch time and we were worried, we had 99 people in, and my staff and I were like, oh no, we're going to miss our goal by one person. And we ended up having 2 people come in at the very last minute in December, and we hit 101. It was a very big collaborative effort. We celebrated. And my broker owner of that brokerage came in and said, do you know why people are making such a big deal of this? And I said, no, but I'm happy. Like, they're proud of us for hitting our goal. And he said, well, they're proud of you for hitting your goal. But do you know how many people in this whole entire region, like the highest amount of recruits in 1 year that somebody has done? And I said, I don't know, like 100, like what? You told me to do 100. He said 36.
Wow.
The highest number anybody else in that position had ever done was 36 in a year, and I did 101. Now, if somebody would have told me the highest number was 36, I would have said, well, I'm not going to be able to do 100 because nobody else has even come close to that. But I didn't know, and he didn't tell me, and I didn't ask, and I did it. And so this is a proof of you cannot let what other people do and don't do affect you, because it has nothing to do with that. You pick your goal and go for it. And don't think about those other things, because all they're going to do is tell you that you can't, and then you won't.
Most definitely. Those limiting beliefs are very, very important. But 100 from 36, that's near enough more than triple. Wow. I need to take some
I
tips
literally
off you.
had no idea. It was mind blowing. I got up on stage actually with Gary Keller because I did that at the time. And I was mind blown because I had no idea I was achieving something that was such a big thing. I was just told that I was going to do it. This is what we were going to do. So I just went for the goal. And so your mindset is really critical. Not getting distracted, again, focusing on the one thing, and don't get yourself distracted with shiny objects, because it doesn't matter. I didn't have a CRM and I still recruited 101 people. You don't need all of these things. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't have good systems. But my point is, if that's going to distract you from doing the things you need to do, it's okay, because I was able to do it. Now, the second year I put my systems in place and I started to grow upon that. But I think that you have to just realize you have to show up and do the activities that are going to get you paid, that are going to hit your goals. That's how you're going to get confidence and stay in this business. And the second thing I would say is just consistency of effort. I didn't do a whole bunch of different things. I did a couple things and I did them all the time. And that's how I was able to recruit, because I got good at those. And that was something I learned from selling real estate, is I focused really on my one thing, which is my open houses, and it got me to my goal. So I took that same strategy into recruiting. So whatever you do, you can take that same philosophy. So consistency for sure. Mindset is more important than we really know. And those are the 2 main tips I give people. The third one I'd love to bring up to you is abundance. And so this is an interesting thing I've noticed more so in the latter part of my career, even though I can look back on my career and I can see different things happening in it. The challenge with entrepreneurship is all of the ups and downs, financially, emotionally, all of these things that we go through. Many things in our career as realtors are out of our control. We might work very hard for something, never get paid on it. We might think we are going to get paid $20,000 that month, and we might get paid $5,000. And there's other months we get paid a lot more than we thought, but it's that inconsistency and that roller coaster ride that many times people have a challenge with. And it really does affect their mindset. And what happens is they're going to come from a place of scarcity. And that is a figment of our imagination. Scarcity is, it's definitely a mindset, but it's very self-sabotaging and it's very detrimental. So when we feel like we don't have enough, when we're worried we can't pay our bills, when we have to sell a house to pay a bill, and we're in a scarcity mindset or a scarcity position, regardless if we feel like we are portraying that or not, that energy is being pushed out to the consumer that we're sitting across the table from. It is exuding from us. There is something that is in us that people can feel. And I've coached so many producing agents where like they will go through these slumps and they're very skilled. They've sold a lot of houses and they literally will go through this dry spell where they go in appointments and they're not getting any of them. And they can't figure out what's going on. And we find the underlying problem is really they have turned into a scarcity mindset and they're repelling people. Their energy is shifted and they are having a hard time overcoming that. So one thing that I really focus on in mindset is helping people come from abundance. Abundance is promised to us. There's always enough if we want it. We will not be in scarcity if we don't believe it. That is reality. Scarcity is thoughts in our mind. Our thoughts in our mind are not real things, but they can affect our life and our business at a big level. When you can come from an abundance energy, when you can walk into an appointment and truly be unattached to that and not really care if you get it or not, that doesn't mean you're not competitive and you don't want to win the listing. It just means if I don't, I have another one. It's no big deal. You will energetically attract because you're letting go of that scarcity and you're coming from there's enough, and then more will attract to you. And so either we have to fill our pipelines so big that we're not nervous because we have enough appointments coming in and we just have the pipeline flowing, or we have to make our money work for us in different areas to where we're receiving other passive streams of income. Or we need to use our skills and our talents as a solopreneur and our entrepreneur first, a realtor second, and go make money in other ways. So for an example, I did not do this for the first many years of my business. And I had many moments of scarcity and ups and downs and debt and then having to pay it off. I went through the downturn in 2007, 8, 9. I made it through, but I had a lot of ups and downs. And in the last 8 years, again, post transformation, I realized that I needed to take more control and be more already decide abundance is there for me because that's a decision and a choice. But I also had to set myself up for a situation financially where I could truly live in abundance, where I didn't have to, and I could watch my businesses grow. So it's the reason I came to eXp Realty. If my husband and I sell a house, we make money when we sell the house, but we also make money, and we are already making 6 figures in our stock. We also are helping other people succeed and we're receiving revenue share. So 3 things, just what we already do in our life already. Now, instead of just getting paid in one way, we get paid in 3. Now we take that money and we go make that money in investing in real estate. Now we're developing real estate. We would have never had a chance to do that at a different brokerage because we would not have had that extra money to go invest to do something different. So now that becomes an income stream. And instead of doing my coaching, I'm doing digital products. Digital marketing is a billion-dollar industry now, going to be a trillion-dollar industry. And the reality is that we can use digital products to go find consumers. We can use digital products to go find other realtors to be in business with. We can go use digital products to go get realtors that will send referrals to us in our area. So if we come from a place of contribution, we take our skills that we already have and we share them with others. And we can get paid for that, even if it's not a lot. But we can, again, have all of these little different streams of income that add up and pay our bills. Our business is going to blow up because we aren't going to be in a scarcity mindset and we don't have to go through those ups and downs. So that's my new mission. I've now been in real estate for 24 years. This last phase of my career is succeeding through others, partnering with people at eXp. They don't pay me anything. I pour into them, I help them, and I really want to help people to diversify their income. I want them to have multiple streams of income because I believe they were given their God-given talents for a reason, and they should be an entrepreneur first, a real estate agent second, and other things secondary, because that's really truly what's going to give them time freedom and money freedom. And if you have all your eggs in one basket, I think it's hard to have the time and money freedom that you really want. And that's why you got into entrepreneurship in the first place. So that is really a mission that has been on my heart lately, that you don't have to get yourself distracted. You have to do things that are synergistic. But a lot of the things that we already do can help us make money in other ways.
Definitely. Going from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset is such a powerful thing. In society today, we're really trained to just follow and stick in a 9 to 5 where our dreams, our wings to fly are cut. And wow, just truly inspiring you are, most definitely. But just going back to what initially inspired you to create Level Up with Carrie, and how do you help individuals transform lives through your program?
Yeah. So, what I found after I was in the leadership positions in the brokerage, and then I had a chance to grow a real estate team across the country. We were in 27 states. All of my time was spent finding talent to partner with and then pouring into them, coaching, training, helping them grow their businesses and their teams. And so that was a really big part of my career for probably combined about 10 or 11 years. And I found that to be a place where I really got a lot of joy. That really is my skill set, is inspiring, motivating, strategizing, and helping people succeed. And I feel like that was definitely the reason I ended up picking real estate. Now, when people ask me, like, why did you pick real estate? I didn't know it then, but I really believe it now that these are the skills that I have that I was able to actually, there's so many realtors, there's so much coaching and training opportunity in this industry. I didn't know it 24 years ago when I picked this career, but I really believe that was the path that was meant for me. So I first had to be a successful real estate agent, right? And know how to do it. And then moved into being able to help other people find their way to do it. Because I really think that's where my skill sets are the best suited, is to help other entrepreneurs and other business professionals. So that after I did those two roles, I realized that I didn't want to stop doing that. I didn't want to do it in that way anymore. I didn't want to necessarily be a team leader, so to speak, where people were paying me percentages of their commission. I personally felt like they were paying way too much. And so I moved into a coaching company model. And so I actually was a co-owner of a national coaching company that actually launched right before the quarantine, and we actually grew throughout COVID, and we served over 500 real estate professionals across the U.S. and Canada in 2 years. And I hired other coaches, and it was a really, really great opportunity. But on my 45th birthday, which was just a little over 3 years ago, I felt very strongly that it was my time to go out on my own and to be able to figure out how to use all of my strengths and my skills without a business partner, because I'd had a business partner all the way from the leadership of the brokerage to the real estate team to the coaching company. And it was time for me to get back on my own, because I'd learned so much, but I had some individual goals that I really felt like I could do, but I couldn't do it in conjunction with a partner. So I then sold my share in that coaching company, and I created Level Up with Carrie to be able to help people partner with me through my coaching or through EXP, either way. So initially it was, I would coach people one-on-one or in small groups if they did not want to be partners with me at EXP. And then, or they could partner with me at EXP, and it was going to be completely free to partner with me because the company would pay me to help them instead. Wow. And so now after 3 years, most of the people are partnered with me. We have over 320 partners throughout the United States and growing. And so I do most of that. However, I do have 3 calls a week that anybody can join. They're completely free with anybody in the industry at any company. And I also have some of these digital products. So if people say, I just want to learn from you, Carrie, I have a masterclass that's launching in January. It's going to literally be it's going to be a one-stop shop of my entire experience and all the things that I've been able to do. And I really believe it's going to bless a lot of people. And if they don't want to partner with me at EXP, if they don't want to join my calls, they don't have to do anything. They can literally just get this masterclass, and I hope it blesses their life. And so there's I have free things in there. I'm really just trying to reach more people, because I believe at this phase of my career, I have a lot that I can share with people, and a lot of people resonate with my experience through divorce, through personal transformation, through leadership challenges, through trying to grow a real estate business. I also own a co-working space now. So I'm helping people diversify their income in that way, investing in real estate. So really just finding ways that people will resonate with me and how I can help them. And so now there's just a bunch of ways they can do that. And so Level Up with Carrie is kind of an encompassing in all of those things. Leveling up to me means like your life first. Your business is just part of your life. It's just one fragment of your life. If we start leveling up our lives, then everything in our lives should level up. And that includes your business. I find that a lot of coaches and a lot of people out in our industry focus on business coaching, business consulting. The problem with that is that we're attacking business problems. And most of the time, we're not dealing with business problems at all. We're dealing with personal problems that show up in our business because we're entrepreneurs. So our communication problems that are personal problems, our personal relationship problems, the fact that we don't take care of our health, that we don't have good energy, we don't feel good. our mindset issues, our mental health. All of those things leak into our business, but yet we're trying to find business solutions. And those business solutions are not going to solve those personal problems, and it's not going to grow your business. So I'm a firm believer that your business can only grow to the extent that you do as a human being. So if you want to work on yourself, then your business growth will be a byproduct of that. And what other situation could we put ourselves in to actually get paid to work on ourselves? I think that entrepreneurship is a massive blessing because it literally will get paid to be a better human being, to be healthier, to have better relationships, to figure out how to have better communication, to spiritually be more sound. We actually look at those things. I believe those are part of our job description. They are not separate from. If we don't take care of our health, then our business is not going to be optimal. Therefore, that should actually be part of our job description and in our calendar. We should not feel guilty about that. That is an actual responsibility, right? It's not selfish, it's selfless to take care of those things because the people that count on us, our clients, our business, our family, they all count on that. And so I just have a little bit of a different perspective around the leveling up. And I think that's where a lot of people attracted to me because they were looking for that holistic approach. And we talk about everything. If people meet with me, if they partner with me, it's their spiritual health, it's their relationships, it's their physical, their mental, their financial, their wealth, their mindset around money. All of these things are going to actually affect if their business grows or not. So it's a fun journey for me because I went through it. It's hard, for 8 years, and I'm still going through it because nobody ever graduates from personal growth, but it's not easy, but it's very rewarding. And so to be able to be on that journey with people, even in little bits and pieces, however I can, is really a blessing for sure.
Wow. The best piece of advice I had was there's no better investment than investing in yourself because the return of investment then
it's big.
It's very big, most definitely. In a world where balance and productivity often seems rather odd, what are some key strategies would you use to help leaders achieve both of them?
Yeah. So first of all, I don't believe in balance. And that's, I think, one thing that a lot of people should not buy into a myth. I think that balance is a myth. And so if we try to achieve balance, we're never going to, and then we're going to feel really bad about it. We're going to feel bad about ourselves. Like, how come we can't figure this out? Well, you can't figure it out because it's actually not real. Now, you can have integration. You can have areas of your life that are always that you're involved in to make sure that you're not letting anything go by the wayside. But there's never going to be a time where things are perfectly balanced. Like, I'm going to work only these hours and be with my kids only these hours and my health. It's never going to be a perfect balance. But what you can do is make sure that you're always touching in each of these areas all the time. You're not letting one of these areas go for too long because there's going to be a detriment there. There's always going to be times when you have to spend a little bit more time in your business because something is going on that requires that. There's always going to be times when you need to spend more time with your family or your children because there's something going on there that you need to be there for, or maybe your health. But as long as you're touching back and forth in all of these different areas that are a priority, I find that to be more integrated. That's what we should achieve, is an integration every week, every month, so that we are doing things that move the needle forward in all of those areas. So that was the first thing that I did, is I stopped believing in that myth, and it helped me to feel more successful. And so I use a lot of different calendar strategies for that. Color coding is a main strategy because our mind will be able to look at a calendar, like a Google Calendar, for the whole week. And it'll immediately look at the colors, and it can tell you in about 2 seconds if you have a good integration in that week. If I don't have any pinks in my week, that means I have no personal, and that's not good. If I don't have any blue, that means I'm not doing revenue generating activities. That's a problem. If I have too much of a certain color, it means I'm being distracted by one thing, and I need to make sure I'm putting some other things back in. So I use my calendar diligently. It is absolutely my boss. I don't know what to do unless I look at my Google Calendar. And I make sure that all of the different areas that are priorities are on it. And I color code it accordingly. So if I get lost, because everybody loses their way and they start focusing on something for too long and they forget about important things, I can see that and I can immediately adjust. So next week, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put more effort into this because last week I didn't put any effort into that. And it really helps me to make sure that my relationships stay healthy, I personally stay healthy, and that I'm doing the revenue generating activities so I can hit my goals. And so using a calendar to really be your boss is key. As an entrepreneur, you love that you don't have a boss, but if you don't make something your boss, you're going to be unemployed. So you have to make something your boss. And I would encourage you to make your calendar.
Most definitely. Tips away, and this when it's coming to your calendar, I know there's probably a lot of people watching this that actually set their self tasks to do and have their gym on there, have their money making activities, but then when it gets to the time, they don't want to do it, and then they skip out and go away from. But it's actually you've set yourself a time to wake up at that time. You've set yourself time to go sleep at that time. If you've set yourself to do this activity, make sure you do that activity, because that will then have a knock-on effect, whether it levels you up or levels you towards a direction you don't want to go. Stay consistent, guys.
That's right.
But with so many leadership approaches and strategies out there now, from what I'm hearing, and certainly the audience hears as well, that you're really empowering. And do you believe sets your coaching philosophy apart from others and, say, gurus out there?
So one thing I want to backtrack on is the procrastination. What you said is you put things on your calendar, but you don't do them. So I want to give people a little bit of hope. This is a quick tip. For a long time as a coach, I was taught that procrastination was a time management problem, that you were not following your calendar, or you were not managing your time or your priorities appropriately. Therefore, you were procrastinating. What science has actually found when they've studied the brain is that procrastination has nothing to do with planning. It has nothing to do with the part of the brain that does the planning or the time blocking. It absolutely instead has to do with the part of the brain that manages our mood. This is an actual mood regulation problem. So when you procrastinate something, you are putting it off because of how you feel. In other words, doing the thing doesn't feel good. And so I don't want to do something that makes me uncomfortable or is boring or isn't fun. And the brain is going to go, do something fun instead. So when you're supposed to be making your lead generation calls, but instead you start working on Canva because you have to make that cool marketing piece, this is not a time management problem. You're giving into your mind, and your mind is telling you that doing the Canva is a lot more fun than doing the lead gen. So your mood is actually making the decision. This is a mood regulation problem. So one thing that you can do is that you can actually appropriately put your calendar in place to have something that you like to do right after the thing that you don't like to do. So right after lead generation, if you knew that you had to lead generate for 1 hour, but you were going to go to dinner with a friend, or go for a walk because you love that, or go get a massage, or go to the shopping, or do some activity that you really enjoy, dopamine is spiked in the brain, not when we do the things that we enjoy, but anticipation of it. So it's the thinking about being able to do it spikes our dopamine. So if you immediately look at your calendar, go, oh, that's right, I get to go do this as soon as I'm done with this, your dopamine spikes, and you will have a greater chance of being able to get yourself to do the activity that you really don't want to do in anticipation of doing the thing that you want. So you can actually hack your brain a little bit that way. And so for those of us that need a little bit of extra push, we find ourselves procrastinating certain activities. I would encourage you to set your calendar up that way, but not just set your calendar up. You have to look at it. You have to remind yourself what you get to do after, because that's where your brain's going to spike the dopamine, and then you're going to be able to do it. So that's one example of how I stand myself, I guess, apart from the other gurus out there. Is that I believe that there's a lot of people that know a lot of things. There's a lot of really great coaches out there. One thing that's different about me is that I take a very personal approach. If you work with me, you're going to open up to me and tell me pretty much everything that you're comfortable with. I am not a psychologist, and I am not a counselor, and I'm not a therapist. And I will encourage you to go to one if I think you need one based on what you tell me. However, I believe that us as a whole person, even the things in our mind that don't make sense, if we've got some depression, if we've got some ADHD, by the way, everybody has some of this. If we're going through a rough patch with a relationship, if we have a health problem, everybody has something they're dealing with at all times of life. That's life. But you have to be able to express those things, talk about them, and work through those if you're going to be able to continue to work on your business in a productive way. And so we're going to go over tactical strategies and lead generation and accountability and your calendar and procrastination and mind hacks and all of these things. But we're also going to figure out where you are personally and the things that you might want to and need to do. And that first domino you might have to take care of first in order for these other things to work. Because here's what I know. I can tell you to do everything. I could literally program everything in a robot and say, if you did this, or if you had this robot do this, you would make $100,000 this year. We know what activities to do. That is not the problem. It's that we're not getting ourselves to do the activities that we know we need to do. So a lot of gurus give a lot of information. They give a lot of things to do. But if you can't get yourself to do them, then none of that matters. And I think that we forget to get to the root of the problem. And that is why we're not getting to the success. If we literally feel unworthy of making $100,000, then we are not going to do the activities to make $100,000, no matter how much money you pay me.
Most
right.
definitely.
And so that would and it's not that other coaches don't do that. It's just, this is the way I do it. And I think the other piece of it is I do bring a lot of spirituality into it. Not my whole life did I have a relationship with Jesus, but I do now.
Amen.
And it has been very beneficial to
Amen.
me. And so God is the CEO of my business. And I pray to him every day to bring people in my life that I can help. I ask him for direction. I try very hard not to lean on my own understanding. We have been abundantly blessed, my husband and I, since we have made that decision. And I do believe that if we shoulder things on our own understanding, that we're going to go through a lot more suffering than if we would really seek the guidance of our Father. And not everybody is going to believe that. But for me, that has been very life-changing and business changing. And now my ministry has become part of my business. And that has been a massive blessing. And God will always provide more to you if you obey him. So the more obedience, the more provision. And then we've been able to do more. So that is something that I've been doing in the last few years. And I've attracted a lot more entrepreneurs that would like to bring their faith into their business as well.
Wow. Amen. Wow. Very powerful. Alignment is a magical thing, which can seep into all aspects and areas of your business. And if we're not aligned to our truest self, then we can most definitely get distracted and go down paths we don't choose to. But wow, so much information, so much value. I'm just wary of the time we have. I could do 10 hours on this podcast with you, potentially. Most definitely. But just in regards to your journey and where you're going from here, what are your goals moving forward?
So I used to have a little bit of a limited mindset. I used to feel a little bit bad about wanting to make a lot of money. I came from a pretty modest background, and I always felt like I was being judged because I wanted to be really successful and I wanted to have these things. Early in my career, I did want to have things, and I was pretty materialistic. That didn't last very long because I wasn't very happy. And I share that with people, that a lot of people try to, have these moments of happiness by buying things and having a house and this beautiful, car and all of these things. I did that too because I didn't have it. And when I made money, I thought it was going to make me happy. And I lived a very miserable life. And so when I went through my transformation, I realized it wasn't about the things, it was about the joy inside of me. It wasn't the fleeting moments of happiness. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs go down that path. And so for me today, I've been able to really simplify my life. I make more money now, but you wouldn't know it. I give a lot of it away. My husband and I want to give a lot of it away. And the interesting thing is, the more that we give away, the more people come to us that need help. And so God is bringing people in front of us, but then he always will provide for us. And so for us, this last phase of our career is, there's not enough money we could make, because if we look around us, the amount of people that we could help, there literally just isn't enough money. And so as long as we know that we're going to go make money to help other people, then we would love for God to provide as much as he is willing to trust us with. But that means we need to get up every day and we need to still work, and we need to work according to what he wants us to do. And so I really believe that God wants me to help entrepreneurs make more money for the kingdom. So on my TikTok, for example, I focus mostly on, entrepreneurs who want to diversify, use their strengths, make passive income, have time for their first ministry, which is their family, and then be able to go out there and do good in the world. Like a lot of us have passions, but we don't have time because we're working all the time. So how can we go out there and make money using the strengths that God gave us, as much of it as he'll provide to us, and then go out there and do good with it and use that testimony. I mean, for me, it's not about me, it's about the testimony. Like I was very lost. I made a lot of money in real estate, had nothing to show for it. I went through a divorce. I was beaten down. People looked at me and thought, wow, she's the most successful real estate agent. But I wasn't successful because I didn't have a relationship with Jesus. I didn't have any confidence in myself. I was putting my happiness in places that weren't making me really happy.
Mhm.
My health was not doing very good. My mindset wasn't great, but yet I was making a whole bunch of money, right? And so money was my God because I thought it was going to solve my problems,
Mhm.
but it didn't. And then I realized what I was really missing. And that was my relationship with Jesus that provided me a
Mhm.
relationship with myself that now provides me a better
Amen.
relationship with my spouse, my children, and my colleagues, honestly. And so what I would tell you for my future is I just want to partner with people who feel aligned with that. And I want to partner with people who want to make more money for the kingdom. And yeah, that's what hopefully we'll do. I
Amen.
don't know. I always say I don't know what's going to be because maybe God will change the whole path. I have no idea.
Wow, very powerful. The creator, he knows the future, the past, and the present, and we can only listen to our Father. But wow. One last fun question, just in regards to the icons of real estate. We're the #1 real estate podcast network, and we're passionate about making podcasting accessible to all. Myself generally,
Yeah.
because of our education system's extremely outdated now. Lots of people are seeking newer mentors instead of just going online or listening to the news, which is pushing
Yeah.
out fear. But if you had your own podcast, one question is, what would you call it?
Oh, wow. Good question. I just named my masterclass and I've been thinking about it and praying about it for a really long time. And I'm going to tell you, I don't even remember exactly what it is, but I think I would go with this because after praying about it and thinking about it and consulting a couple of people, it was faith. So we wanted it to be something about faith-fueled wealth building. And so I
Wow.
think that's what I'd probably call it, faith-fueled wealth building, building multiple streams of income with a purpose.
Wow, that I would have definitely record 20 episodes with you on that one. But a very powerful episode, one of the best episodes we've had at real estate. Well, the icons of real estate most definitely going to push this out much quicker. And our audience, I know they're truly feeling empowered and blessed right now. Thank you, Carrie. In regards to our audience reaching you, how can they reach you?
They can find me on TikTok. Just search my name, Cari Briner. You'll see me, Kingdom Way Real Estate. Or you can just go to levelupwithcarrie.com and you can schedule a free call with me. You can join one of our free calls if you're in real estate and you'd like to just join my coaching call and see what it's about. Of course, you can just search my name on social platform and DM me. But TikTok is a place where I'm really focusing right now, just simply because it's really easy to reach more people. And so certainly if that's a place that you find yourself, otherwise Facebook, I'm pretty active on as well.
Most definitely, we'll drop all of our links below, and we'll most definitely have people reaching out to you. But
I would love it. Yes. Thank you so much for having me on, Ethan. This has been awesome.
No, most definitely. Thank you for it was an honor guesting as well. I feel truly inspired as well by yourself. But yeah, guys, another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast finished. We'll see you on the next episode, and hopefully we'll have someone as tremendous as Carrie join us again. But be hard to beat that, Carrie. Thank you and goodbye.